Welcome to a VMA-214 training video. Today we're looking at the targeting pod and how to create mark points, target points, steer points, and also hand off to a GPS weapon from those points. The first thing we want to do is bring the master arm on, air to ground mode, master mode, and the targeting pod up. So sensor select switch, depress twice quick or short, and we're in snowplow mode. Now we have the favourite airfield target up ahead with an aircraft on the runway and some other targets scattered around the airfield. And so we'll create some mark points and target points and assign a weapon to those points. We'll just bring the targeting pod onto the area of interest. The first thing we'll talk about is assigning a T0, which is the easiest way to hand off to a weapon. At the moment we have targeting pod active in snowplow, and I'm going to expand, zoom in a little bit, put it right at the base of that aircraft, and I'm going to designate it with the cursor control switch depress and make it a TPOD des, which we have with an elevation and late long. So to get that information off to the weapon is very easy, because right now we have created a T0 position that I can hand directly off to the JDAM. So let's bring the JDAM up. We have a 82L laser guided JDAM, and you can see the symbology we have there. It's not looking at anything at the moment. It's just active in auto release. So to bring that online, the easiest way to do it is we'll set the fuse to instant. We'll make the terminal angle 65, and with the target points we could either assign a point here, but in this case we want to hand off that target as quickly as we can. As a target opportunity, and rather than using the target opportunity button, I can press and hold the waypoint increment button on the HOTAS for more than 0.8 of a second, which I'm doing now. There we go. And you'll know it happens when the ODU pops up with a waypoint being designated, and we just got targeting symbology in range, and the JDAM is now looking at our target. So we could roll in there and release on that T0 quite easily. But rather than do that, I'm going to undesignate that target. Back to map des, slave des, and we are going to unbox des, and we now have waypoint T0, and it's looking at that aircraft. I'll get the targeting pod to look at it again. There we go. And you can see it has cleared the JDAM targeting, so we'll have to go through that process to hand off to it again, that T0 position. But let's create a target point. So off that position, I'm going to slew off. So we will zoom out a little bit as well. Well, there's some vehicle targets up the road. That's a nice target. Let's change the FLIR there and zoom in a little bit on them. We'll pick that middle one there. We might be able to get 3, and I want to assign that as a target point. So all I need to do is TPOD des again, and there we go. We have TPOD des. Might just change polarity. There we go, to black hot, so you can see it a bit better. We've got TPOD des, and then I press the target of opportunity button on the UFC, and it instantly comes up with target point in the ODU. and 1. All I have to do is hit enter. It's now stored as target point 1. But because we've TPOD des there, it's actually still got a T0 there as well. So we're going to move off that point. We'll save that target for later. Let's have a look around somewhere else. So moving the TPOD off the target, and you can see in the HUD it is now looking elsewhere. We'll have a quick squeeze around. There we go, we've got some helicopter targets. We'll zoom in on those. I'll pick the middle one again. Nicely at the base of the gear there. And let's designate that as target 2. So to do that, it's the same process, TO button, and automatically the ODU comes as target, and it knows it's put number 2 or in the scratch pad of the UFC, and all I have to do is hit enter. So what I'm going to do is undesignate that target now, unbox designate, and I've returned the tag input to snowplow, as you can see in the HUD. Now if we look in the HUD, we can see T0 is still there as a steer point, and I'll cycle to T1 and T2, waypoint 1, waypoint 2, 3, back to T0 again, T1. So if I box designate now on that target point, the TPOD will slew straight to the vehicles. There we go. But you'll notice the JDAM, although it's active, is not looking at that target point. We have to assign it again. So it's as simple as cycling the JDAM and picking target point 1, and there we go, in range, ready to drop. So that's the use of the targeting pod to generate targets and hand off to the JDAM. We can also use that function to generate a mark point, which I will do now by we'll undesignate, unbox designate that, and we're back to snowplow, and I'll move the, let's reduce that zoom to speed up the tracking. We'll move that snowplow down onto the runway and up on one of these thresholds here, this one here, I'll put a mark point. There's a couple ways we can do this. The first way is to TPOD designate that spot, which I've done, and then on the EHSD I can press the bottom row on the DDI, it says mark 0, and just all I have to do is hit that OBS and I'll generate a mark point 0. So I'll press that now, and we have generated a mark 0 at that threshold. And then if I move over to the other threshold, I can generate another mark point there by doing the same thing, but this time with mark 1. Now another way, if I move up to the other end of the runway, is I can generate a mark point there by using the TO function. So I'll press TO, and instead of selecting target point in the ODU, I can put mark point, and it already comes up as 2, which lines up, which would have been the next one here. I don't know why you'd use this way rather than just pressing the EHSD, but anyway, and hit enter, and there's our third mark point. So if I unbox designate and we undesignate the pod, you can see the JDAM still looking at our original target there. But I can cycle through those targets. So there's target 2, which were the choppers, waypoint 1, 2, 3, somewhere else, and then I've got mark point 0, which was that threshold, mark point 1, the other one, down the other end of the runway, mark point 2. So it's pretty useful, the targeting pod. You can generate a lot of stuff if you're orbiting around a target at altitude, and you can plan out an attack quite effectively with it. I hope it was informative. Thanks for watching. If you need more details of the TPOD, look at the video that describes the TPOD basics.